Hello, hello. So, do you love your Kindle? I certainly do. I carry mine everywhere I go. And we've got good news because a lot of people think that you're restricted to what you download from the Amazon Kindle store, but good news is that's not the case. You can actually load your Kindle up with all kinds of other material from all kinds of other resources, and we're going to talk about some easy ways to do that in this show. So let's talk tech about the easy ways to load up your Kindle. Okay, right? The Kindle, I mean, it's been around for a while, but for those of us readers, this is, like I said, like I can carry around 1,000 books on here. I could never carry 1,000 books in real life. It's a wonderful single purpose device. But I've recently come to realize that a lot of people don't understand that there are other options than just the Amazon Kindle store. Not that that's not a great resource. It certainly is. And there's free and paid stuff there. So I am not knocking it at all. But sometimes you want either your own materials or stuff that you can't get through Amazon. And all these things are possible. And there's a bunch of different ways to do it. So we're going to go through them all. And along the way, I'll highlight my favorite for you. So first of all, let's talk about where you can get other content, right? So obviously, the Kindle store, but you can also, hit the web and go to your favorite search engine and look for free ebooks and find a ton of free content out there. Now, obviously, like anything else, when you're on the web, you want to be a little careful about where you're downloading files from, but there's a lot of good lists out there with a lot of recommended resources. Just to name a few, here, we'll go through a little list here. Project Gutenberg, I use that one a lot myself. There's many books. There's a whole thing, it's called just free computer books. Obviously, I like that. Some of the stuff is a little dated at this point because publishers are not putting out as many full books about computer stuff, but there's still some good stuff out there. Adorama is another good one. We talked about Gutenberg. That's a good one. There's an international children's digital library. So, if you're looking for stuff for your kid, if your kid is just ripping through stuff and you can't keep up with them, that's a good way to go. Let's see, what's one more good one? Is it? No, wait. There's another good one here. Wait. Not that one. Oh, Google Play Books, by the way. You can also download those and use them. In some cases, you need to convert them, which we will talk about too. But in a lot of cases, they do come as an EPUB, which is easy peasy. It just goes right in. Oh, where's this other one? Oh, here we go. freeebooks.net. That's another really good resource if you're looking for extra content. But hands down, one of the things that most people overlook is your local public library. That's right, folks. Your local library has joined the 21st century. Actually, they did at the end of the 20th century. So if you have a library card, you can usually go to the website for the library and get ebooks that you can borrow, just like you borrow any physical book, and view it on your e-reader, on your Kindle in particular. So there you go. There's another good way to go and get something free. And then, of course, there's also other places that you can go and get like cheap versions and all that. You can also create your own documents, your own PDFs, and put those on there. If you get from stuff from work that you need to review, you can put it on there. So there's a lot of different options out there. Good stuff. You can also take stuff that you already have and transfer it to your Kindle device. So we're talking ebooks, PDFs, anything like that. So for example, I'm a big fan of a publishing company called A Book Apart. They publish, of course I don't have one in here, but they publish these very short books that are chock full of great information, and they give them to you. You can get them either as just digital, or you can also get the physical. I always get both. So I have a ton of those. And so I tend to cycle through, when I get, a bunch of new ones, I put those on my Kindle, but also there are ones that I refer to a lot. So a lot of times they live on my Kindle for a while, because they're very handy. Okay, so let's start to talk about let's first talk about converting this, because there are a bunch of different formats. Let me bring this up for you. There's a bunch of different formats that the device will read. Hey, I brought the right one up. Let's lose my name. So as of right now, these are the file formats that you can use on a Kindle. I'm not going to read it all to you, but it's a fairly extensive list, as you can see. Now, do be aware that some of these, has this list been updated? Yeah, I'm not sure whether or not the AZW, AZW3 and 4 are going to continue, But yeah, it looks like these are the ones going forward. The reason I'm mentioning that is because they are depreciating the original, the Mobi and the other one, the AZW, are being depreciated because those are not coded to offer all the benefits that you get with a newer Kindle device. Now, that said, that doesn't mean that you can't continue to read the ones that you've got. So all I'm saying is that you won't be able to transfer those. And that's as of late in 2022. So right now you can still do it, but probably sometime in the fall, they're going to cut off that because they want to encourage people to use the EPUB format instead of that. But anything that you've got that is in those older formats, you can continue to read on your devices, no problem. You're just not going to get like some of the special features, like the special way that it enhances font sizes and handles end of line and hyphens and that kind of stuff. So you won't really notice it until you get really used to all the things that the newer Kindles do, assuming you're using a newer Kindle. So that is one of the things I want to bring up here. And that is whatever I'm talking about here works with whatever generation Kindle you've got. So I still have my original one. I don't think it was the very first version, but it was a very early version because it's still got the physical keyboard down the bottom. That thing just keeps rocking. The battery life is not quite what it used to be, but we're talking by an hour or so difference. It's really not a big deal for me. That's the one I keep upstairs. And then I do have one newer one, which just goes and goes and goes. So don't feel like if you're using an older device or if you're looking to maybe try a Kindle, going and buying a used device is a perfectly fine way to go because they are 100% functional and compatible. So the only thing is you won't get the newer Kindle functionality, but if you're just looking to read, most of the time you're not going to care about that anyway, so it's fine. Also, these processes that we're going to talk about will not only make things available on your physical Kindle device, but also if you're using the Kindle Reader app. So if you've got that on your phone or on your computer or on your tablet or whatever, this is like a universal thing. This is one of the reasons I love the Kindle universe, because it is so flexible and I can literally read anywhere and not have a problem, right? So if I don't, for whatever reason, I walk out of the house without this, which could happen, I'm not stuck because if I'm sitting someplace, I also have it on my phone, which I've just knocked everything over to show you. I also have it on my Chromebook. I have it on my desktop computers, my laptops. So all the places you'll be able to do this kind of stuff. All right, so let's talk about converting, because every so often you're going to have a document that is not going to work with the Kindle natively. Now, as just a general statement, PDFs work. That said, some PDFs, however they were built or created, or the tool that they were built in, sometimes they don't come through as well. So you can certainly convert those. But anything else that you've got that is not already ready to rock and roll, we have a solution for that. Now, there's a bunch of different ones, but this is the one that I have played with the most. Bring that down. And that is called Calibre. Oh, as usual, all the links are in the description, so don't panic. You don't have to zoom in here to see, but it's called Calibre, and you can install it Windows, Mac. See how I made one word out of that? Linux. You can make it as a portable device. You could also do it on your mobile devices. So lots of different ways, and basically you just go in and you bring your document into this and you run it through a little converter, and it will do the thing for you. So here they've actually got a little demo site here. So it's not, it's not the prettiest application on the planet, but you know what? It works. So you just navigate to whatever it was, and then you can go ahead and convert it. When you click on this, there's a little drop down and it gives you different options to choose from. And then you can send it to your device. You can save it to the disk and do it, they do the transfer a different way, but it's easy peasy. It's free. Which I love. Free is always a win in this house. And it makes it so that you can take pretty much anything that isn't already natively supported by the Kindle and turn it into a Kindle-friendly format to go ahead and use. So highly recommend going and checking that out. Alrighty, let me just, as usual, I'm jumping around because that's the way I do things. Okay. So we talked about that. It's free. All right, so Calibre is free and open source. That was the other thing I wanted to mention. And it's super easy to use. So it doesn't matter, if you're new or uncomfortable with technology, you really won't have any problem with this. It is straightforward. And if you're a geek like me, of course, there's a couple of extra tools for power users in there that you can totally use. So actually, before we go farther, because I always forget to do this, For those of you who are new around here, my name is Kathleen. I'm here as your tech coach. The short version of my story is I do technology as my day gig. It's also my hobby. So I live inside this world. I'm constantly playing with stuff, which means that my friends and family, neighbors, and coworkers tend to come to me when they're looking for advice or they're having a problem or whatever. And over the years, then they've started referring me out to the people that they know, which made me understand that not everybody has somebody to go talk to, which is why I'm here doing this show. So I'm here every Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern time. I bring a topic. You are always welcome to come and ask questions or hang out and chat and have a good time. Or if you have a question, a comment, if you have something you want me to cover on a show, go to yourtechcoach.com, fill out the form, and let me know. Alrighty. So actually, let's bring the topic back up. So let's start talking about why we're here, right? How do you get the stuff that you want onto the Kindle device that you want to read it on? We've got options. We have lovely options. Okay, first and foremost is just using a USB cable. Now, for most of the Kindle devices, that USB cable, and of course, again, most of the Kindle devices are still using the older style USB cable, but there are starting to release versions with USB-C. So you're just going to want to check and see which one you need to use. I don't know if you'll be able to see this here, but it's it's usually on the bottom of the device. I know it's hard to see with the black device. So there's that. Now, ideally, you're going to want to use the cable that came with your Kindle when you bought it. However, I get it. We lose track of these things. Do it all the time. So the thing I want to tell you is you're going to want to use a higher end one. Some cables are designed only to, like repower your device. And some are designed for data transfer. So you're going to want to make sure that you're using a good cable that will do the data transfer. What that means is if you plug one end of the cord to your Kindle and the other end to your computer, and the computer does not see the Kindle as a drive when you go into the file structure, then you're going to want to try a different cable. Eventually you'll find one that'll go, oh, okay, yes, you're sending me data, and it'll work. So just be aware of that. Let's see. So yeah, you're just going to connect the smaller end to the device, and the other end, the regular USB connection to the duckbill one, right? You're going to connect that to your computer. On Windows, it's going to show up in either, it'll show up under computer, my computer. If you just work in File Explorer, you'll see it in there, and it'll be one of the drives on there. And if you're on a Mac, the drive will appear on the desktop. That covers pretty much everybody. Okay, so once you've got that there, then it's just a matter of going ahead and opening that folder on the device and just dragging in whatever file you want to put there. If it is recognized by the device, then it will take it and it will start to do a little processing on it to convert it and update your library and all that kind of stuff. And if there is a problem, if it's a file it can't read, hence why I mentioned earlier about the conversion tool, it'll tell you that, and then you can just go ahead and convert that file. Because sometimes, like I said, even though it says that it's a PDF or whatever, you can go ahead and run into problems, because that's what happens in the world, especially in technology. So don't let that throw you. You just go in, run that through the tool if you do get the error message, and it's good to go. So first it will end up on your physical device, right? Because that's what you've done. You've connected your physical Kindle to your computer and you've made the swap, right? So you've dragged the files and you put them on here. When your physical device syncs to Amazon, that's when it's going to add it to your library that is stored on Amazon, and then that is what makes it available to all of your other devices, right? Because you've got a library on Amazon, and every time your devices connect, whether it's the app or a physical device, it goes and looks there and says, oh, look, there's something new. Let me sync that down. And what it does at first is it just syncs like the name of it. And then if you click on it to read it, then it actually pulls down the content. So it's there. And then if you ever want to remove it for any reason, you can obviously remove it from your device or your app or whatever you're using, but that won't remove it from your library necessarily unless you actually select that option. Usually on the older devices, you don't always get the option to remove it from your library. On the newer ones, you do. But if you just want to streamline that whole process, you can just log into Amazon, go into your library, and delete it right from there. So it's pretty easy that way. And then you are good to go. It's all set. It's here. Another thing, because there's been some confusion from the last show that I did about the fact that you can't buy from your Kindle apps, which maybe will be resolved by the time you're seeing this in the future. But as of right now, if you're using the Kindle app on your phone, you're no longer able to make purchases for the store. So go back. If you're having that problem and you want to make purchases, you want to understand what's going on, you can go back and watch that video. I'll put that at the end of this when I update it later. But that will get resolved at some point. Where was I going with this? Oh, okay. So yeah, so it's physically on here once you've actually clicked on it to read on here. And when you're doing that, then you can go ahead and you can take this out into the woods someplace where you have no connection. The files that are on here, you will be able to continue to read. Somebody out there evidently is causing confusion saying that that's not possible. It is. I do it all the time. So yes, you need to be connected either on Wi-Fi, or if you're using one of the versions of the device that is 5G compatible now, was 3G, but now you need 5G. And it's not, you're not connecting it through your phone. It's actually the device itself is doing the connection. But once the actual content is on the device, then you can walk away from technology and just go ahead and read someplace at the beach and not have a problem. So I wanted to make sure that that is out there too. Okay, I've got too many screens again. All right, so that's probably the way most people start, is just by dragging stuff from their computer onto there. Personally, it's a lot of steps. I mean, it's not really, because that's just, you have to find the cable, you got to plug in the cable, you got to open the thing. There's actually a couple of easier ways, so I'm going to show you those. I'm going to talk about those in a second. Let me just see if there's anything else. Okay, so when you get the file, when you get the folder, or on your computer or Windows Explorer, or on your desktop in Mac, what you're looking for is, you may have to drill down a little bit to the one that says Documents, because that's where you want to put the file that you want to see on your Kindle. So there is that. We talked about being careful with your cables. That is very important. All right, so let's talk about one of my favorite ways to do this, and that is using what they call the Kindle, I always get this wrong, Kindle Personal Document Service. What that really means is you can email files to your Kindle. I know, right? So here you're not actually emailing it directly to the device, although that's kind of how they've got it worded. What you're doing is you're emailing whatever file to your Kindle library, and then it's available, again, to whatever device or application you're reading your Kindle stuff in. It's really that easy. Now, the list that I showed you before, let me bring that back up again. That one. So this list here is the stuff that, the file formats that your Kindle can read. The files that you can email to the address is a subset of this. So it's Word, so that would be DOC and DOCX, or any word processor that you can save a file in those formats to, which is pretty much all of them. HTML, so HTML.html or .htm, RTF files, text files, so .txt, JPEG, GIF, yes, that's how you say that, PNG, the bitmap, the PDFs, the EPUBs, and then the MOBI, which is the AZW and MOBIs, which we talked about later, are being depreciated slowly, but you can still read those. They're going to cut off the ability to email those at the same time that they're going to cut it off the other way, so just so you're aware of that. So, did you know that you had an email address? Is that news? Because that's news for a lot of people. So don't be freaked out about it. Most people don't realize that this is an option. Early on, I discovered this. I tripped over it, and this is one of my favorite ways to do it because it's so simple, right? I'm pretty much always in or near an email client, and so it's really super simple. You just open up an email, you drag the file in that you want to load. I will say one caveat. I have tested doing multiple documents. Sometimes it's worked, sometimes it hasn't. So I just do one at a time now. So I create one email, copy in one file, send it to whichever email address, and I'm going to show you that in a second, and then just let her rip. And then if I want to do another one. Now, you can do it to your generic library, or you can assign it to a particular device. So you're contradicting yourself. You just said you can't do that. What is happening there, and I'm not going to go too techie here, but what it's doing is it's kind of giving you a shortcut, right? Because when you go into your Amazon library, you can pick what you want to read, and you can specify which device to send it to, right? Even if you buy a new book or whatever from Amazon, you can say, send it to my library or send it to this device. So like, there are things that I have, on here, because this tends to be my traveling one. And then I have the one upstairs where it's more of like, novels and sci-fi and that kind of thing. So when you're sending it via email, you can say, I want to send it to this device. And what it'll do is it'll put it in the library and then automatically push it to that device for you. So it's actually doing two things at once for you. When I say that it's sending it, I keep showing you this because this is what we're really focused on, but the Amazon library treats the app on your phone, your desktop, your Chromebook, your tablet, whatever. It treats all of those things as devices as well. So you could say, hey, I want this book sent to my phone. I want this book sent to my computer, and I want this book sent to my Kindle device. And it's all about selecting the right email address. So let me show you what I'm talking about here. Let's lose that. So what you're going to do is you're going to go into Amazon. And again, I have links in the description, so don't panic. But you're going to go in and you're going to go into manage your content and devices. That's where you're going to control most of your Kindle world. And then you're going to go to preferences, right? And there's all kinds of stuff in here. It's worth taking a look at because some of it, might be new and handy for you. But you're going to scroll down. What you're looking for is personal document settings. Okay, so you're going to have a column here, and that's going to be the name that either was automatically assigned or that you assigned to the different devices. So again, your physical Kindle, whatever you have, the app on your phone, whatever your phone's name is, your desktop, so on and so forth. So each one of those will be listed out here. And then each one of those has a unique email address that you can use to send directly to that. And so it's, my favorite Kindle at Kindle.com is probably somebody's. They automatically give you a default address that you can use. However, if it's too hard for you to remember, if you don't like it for whatever reason, you can come into edit and you can rename it so that it's something that's easier to remember or something that you prefer. So it's really that simple. However, as with most things in life, right, there's an extra little thing, and this is fairly new because I'm guessing, again, because I work in IT, this additional step that you have to take now smells like a problem that was created by people trying to hack the system and do bad things. So in the beginning, this is all we had. And that's still there, and you still need to make sure, go and take a look at that, and that's what you're going to use. However, what you've also got to do now is you've got to come down to this approved personal document email list. Okay, I don't know who named these things, but we should have a chat. But basically what this is saying is, what email addresses will you accept content from? And obviously that's going to be your email address. So I have a couple of different ones. So I've got a couple here, but all you need to do, if you don't have any on there yet, let me see, we can just grab a little shape here. So down here, you would click to add a new one, and it gives you a simple form, and then you're going to use that form to say, okay, I want to be able to accept content files on my Kindle from this email address. Once you have these two pieces in place, it's totally easy, right? So you're going to save whichever email address you want to send it to, or multiple if you want to do that, that's fine. But you save those right in your contacts list. And then, once you've made this connection, all you have to do is go in, send it to that email, and you'll be good to go. When you set up that email, there's two things to be aware of. One is you want to do the email address of the device that you're sending it to. You're going to copy the file and either attach it to the email or drop it into the body. You are not going to put a subject line on it. You're not going to put any text in the email. If you do that, it will fail. So just go save. There is one exception. Let me get my notes up here so I explain this well. So remember earlier I was talking about how you might run into a situation where the file is not being accepted and you need to maybe work with it. So obviously the Calibre option is a good way to go. However, you can also try, if you're getting error messages from Amazon when you're trying to submit something, particularly with PDFs. Like I said earlier, most PDFs go through fine. Other PDFs sometimes get a little wonky, and so you may need to work with it a little bit. But you can actually get Amazon to help you. So in that case, especially if you're doing a PDF, you do the same thing. Put the email address of the device you want to mail it to. You're going to put the file in either attach it or drag and drop it into the email. But in this case, you're going to put the word convert, CONVERT, in as a subject line, nothing else, just the word convert. And that tells the Amazon tools that, hey, I want this file, but I need you to adjust it so that it'll work in my reader. And 95% of the time, I've had great success with that. Every once in a while, a document is just too messed up for the Kindle to handle. And you know what? It's not a bad success rate. So I'm willing to ride with that. So that is the one exception. If you do want to have Amazon try to convert it for you, just convert in the subject line and it will do that. Now, that will make it a little bit slower for it to show up in your system, right? Because it's got to be processed, but it won't take forever. Like I think the longest I've ever seen it go is an hour. It's usually much less than that. And just in case you're curious, if you're a little geeky like me, generally what it's doing is it's taking like the PDF and whatever you're sending and turning that into an EPUB format file. So that's what they're moving towards, is EPUB. That's really where the focus is going forward. So there you go. Another easy, fast way to do things. Right? If you've never done this, it's kind of like magic the first time you do it, but it's fun and it's really helpful. Like, if you're going to have to read that boring report from work, why not put it on your Kindle, go out and sit in the yard, with the dog and then, a drink and enjoy some sunshine while you're reading it, right? Well, why not make it the best possible experience if you got to read something that's a little dry, or if you've been working really hard, you want to treat yourself and you've got something you want to read that is not something you got from the Amazon store, but it's in an electronic format. There you go. You got that covered. Hey, John, how you doing? John, just as an aside, so John is my mod. The comments are not coming through again from Facebook. Thanks, Facebook. But I'm seeing you on my phone. Okay. So we've covered two things now, right? So you can do it with USB. You can do it via email. Email, for me, for the longest time, was my favorite because it was so straightforward, so easy. Other added benefit to that was, because I generally keep my emails, or I do like an email purge maybe once a year. So for a long time, then I would also have the file there in my email if I did forget to bring, my Kindle device, and maybe I didn't have an app, wherever I am. It made it a little easier to read my stuff in places that, how should I phrase this? Locations that were not thrilled at the idea of you bringing your own devices in. We'll just leave it at that. We won't go any farther with that. All right, I'm just going to show you real quick, just because I wonder how many of you picked up on this, but I want to show you something else. Here we go. As I was scrolling through, how many of you noticed this here, the Amazon Sidewalk? So again, we talked about this a while ago. I did not realize, I knew the, Echoes and all those devices were a part of the Sidewalk thing. If you're not sure what I'm talking about, I did a show about that a little while ago. But I did not realize until I was prepping for the show that my Kindle devices are also treated like that. So yes, I went in and turned it off, but you don't have to. It's just a personal quirk of mine. So yeah, I just wanted to share that because that was something new that I picked up. Hey, Tyler. Yeah, well, I'm glad you're finding this to be helpful and informative. Yeah, especially that thing, right, about Sidewalk. It's not that I have a problem with Sidewalk per se. I have a problem with the way they implemented it. We should all be able to opt into things. We should not be forced to opt out. That's just a rule of life for me. So yes, I'm glad you're finding this interesting. All righty. So, oops, not that. Actually, I have the right screen up. Okay. Yeah, I know, right? It's the world's a fun place. There's always something going on. Okay, let's keep going here because I don't want this to drag on too long. All right, so as I've said, my favorite, hands down, has been email until recently, because recently I found out about something else that's out there. Now, I still am going to use email a lot because I can use it anywhere, right? And really, this next thing I'll show you, I could technically use almost anywhere, right? So I could not use it on work devices because we're not allowed to install applications, but pretty much anywhere else. What the hell is she talking about? Okay, so she is talking about the Send to Kindle app. So let me show you what that looks like. And this is it's a lightweight application that will let you drag files into it, and it will send it into your library to be available. It's simple, it's fast, it's fairly elegant. But what also is awesome is you can flip and do it from anywhere. It is free, right? So you can attach it to Chrome. You can do it for your PC, your Mac. You can also use this to send via email. And you can send it from your Android device. So that's pretty darn cool as far as I'm concerned. So let me just show you here just what it looks like on the site. So basically, you just click on whichever version you want on whichever device you're going to use it. And then it's going to give you 2 different ways on your desktop computer to do it. So you load it up. This is what it looks like, right? If you're going to do it in the app. It's literally you open this up, you drag a file on top of it, or you can search. You can click on it and search for stuff if you want to browse. But you just drop your stuff on there and you can send it. And it's got options so you can specify, settings and where you want it to go. But you can also right-click in Windows Explorer. Now, obviously, this will be different in a different operating system, but I'm a Windows person, so I can right-click on anything that is compatible format right from Windows Explorer and send it off. Can I tell you how happy this has made me? This is like, oh, good, okay, I'll put this. And it just streamlines the whole process for me because I don't have to even open up like anything else. If I'm working on something, or for example, I tend to binge purchase at the place I told you before, A Book Apart. So when I get the email, and I always save down the electronic version of the books while I'm waiting for the physical book to arrive. And when I do that now, I can just automatically go right click on it and send it to my device. Love this. It's made life so much easier. It's so good, so good. So just I cannot overstate how excited I was when I saw this. It's super lightweight. It's super easy. And so let me go back here. And like I said, it is available on pretty much most of the things that people are using. So I would say go ahead and give it a try and see how it goes. And again, it's going to make it easier for you to put your content where you want it. And by putting the content where you want it, it also means that you're going to be reading more, which is kind of the point for me of having the Kindle. Like, I read all the time. I'm always reading like 3 or 4 books at a time. It drives people in my family crazy, but I've always been that way. From the time I learned to read, I was never satisfied with reading one book. I always wanted multiple. So now the hierarchy for me is this app, the Send to Kindle app, free. Number 2 for me is the email. And then occasionally I will use the USB connection. But there's that. I did want to mention for people, because people have been asking, and by the way, you don't have to do this, obviously, but I will say, I was really touched that people asked. So yes, if you find this content helpful, and you want to show appreciation, you can buy me a coffee. And if you're not familiar with it, it's just a website where you can donate to content creators. And I don't remember. I set it up quickly the other day because somebody asked, but I mean, it's like $2, $5. There's no expectation, first of all, that you're going to do this, but literally you will be buying me a coffee. And because basically I run on coffee, can you tell? It's not bad enough I live on the East Coast where we all talk fast. Live on the East Coast, and I've had like 4 cups of coffee today. So I am perky as all get out right now. But I do appreciate the people who asked. Okay, yes, thank you. It's there. It's an option. Please don't feel like you have to do that. But if you want to, I appreciate it. I got the first one. I was kind of like, ooh, that's cool. All right. So anyway, let's get back to topics here. So those are the tried and true methods of getting content from outside onto your Kindle. Now, as I was researching this, the 2 I use all the time, the USB one I already knew, but I wanted to look. I always check before I do a show like this, just see is something new out there, because new stuff is happening all the time. And I keep coming across different sites saying that you can use the Kindle app either on your computer. But by the way, did you know you can actually install the Kindle app on your computer? Most people know about it on your phone or your tablet or your Chromebook, but you can actually do it on your computer too. People kept saying that you can do this process from that app. That may be true for some people in some cases. So what it seems to be is it doesn't seem like it works from the desktop or the laptop. I haven't found anybody who said that they were successfully able to do this. I do have people who claim that they have been able to do that, just opening the Kindle reader and selecting something from their Chromebook or their mobile device or tablet and do it that way. My suspicion is that it may be people who are using a Fire tablet, and I don't have a functional one at the moment, so I couldn't test that, but that's the only thing. So I'm going to put it out there for you as just an extra tip, because it's worth looking at if you're curious about it, but I haven't been able to verify that, so I'm just sharing with you that it might be a possibility. You can go look at it. But frankly, these other ways are free, so I don't know that it's really that big of a deal if it doesn't work because, it's free. Okay, so a couple other caveats. So the email and the Send to Kindle app, as I mentioned, I think I mentioned earlier, but I just want to drive this home. I'm recording this in July of 2022. Everything that Amazon is saying that late 2022, I'm assuming fall sometime, the Send to Kindle app, the email option will no longer let you do the older file formats, but they're also going to add to those two the EPUB. So right now I sent an EPUB and it went through, but I may be sometimes they do tests and sometimes I end up in that bucket. So I was able to do it through email, but that may still be in testing phases, so you may not be able to do that yet. I haven't been able to do it with the Send to Kindle app yet, but at the point where they're going to depreciate the old file format, they're going to add the EPUB as a way to carry that up. You can do that right now just through USB. So either way, you're covered. But I did want to make that clear because that is something that's changing. Along that same line, as I mentioned, I added into the description because I can't possibly show you everything. I would love to. We'd be here for days. So everything I talked about, the links are in the description. I also included links for the Kindle help because there's actually a lot of good information. And there's also Kindle online user guides and quick start guides. So I included those links in there too, because it's the kind of thing, even if you've been using a device for a while, it's just good to kind of wander through and see. And certainly if you get a new one with Prime Day just passing and Black Friday not that far off, I'm sure people will be buying it. So I put those in there for you just to save you the digging because Amazon doesn't always make them easy to find. So I wanted to make sure that you had that information out there. Okay, so there we go. Sorry, let me get caught up here. So what is Tyler saying? Oh, hey, I finally got a comment from Facebook. Woohoo. So John's saying, I was hoping they got rid of Sidewalk. Yeah, no, they're leaning hard on it, but they're being very quiet about it because they don't want people to turn it off. And like I said, I don't have a problem with the concept of Sidewalk. I'm just really not happy with the way that they implemented it. That was not okay. So Amazon, unless the Amazon deal deleted the Weather Channel. Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah, so there's always going to be these little fights that are going on. That smells to me like, the Weather Channel wanted more money to be included, for the advertising, and Amazon said no. So yeah, that kind of stuff. Because for school, I don't know. I think so. Okay. Oh, so maybe on the school thing, you're not able to get the weather. But yeah. So is it for tablets? Yeah, Android and Chromebook. Right. Yeah. So basically, you can do this with anything, and there's a couple of different ways to do it. But I'm pointing everybody right now to the Send to Kindle because that one does give you, just from that app, is this, let me just see this. This would have to be, no, the son of a gun. So that what they've done for Chrome is they've created an extension that you can install. That's freaking easy and really helpful. But anyway, I can't, I have too many Chrome extensions. I can't add another one. But yeah, so from your desktop, the Mac or PC, you can send it by email, having it loaded, and for Android. So it doesn't look like they have this for iOS right now, but you can do it from your Mac proper. So there's that. And I'm sure they'll add it there eventually. Eventually. All things eventually, right? Okay, so unless anybody has any more questions, it looks like I'm pretty well caught up. Yes. Okay, cool. Oh, so I'm not getting all your messages, John. I'm getting some. I'm getting like every third one or every other one maybe now. That's a whole other problem. Okay, so that's it. I just wanted to get, sorry, it says something went wrong. Wait, sorry, it says something went wrong. What specifically are we talking about? Are you talking about the Send to Kindle? Yeah, so some of your phones, some of your files may have a problem, and the app will let you know, and that's where you're going to want to take that file, put it into the convert file tool that I talked about, so the Calibre, or try emailing it with convert in the subject line and see if Amazon can fix it. If not, then Calibre will probably be able to take whatever file that is and convert it into an EPUB that you can then go ahead and load up. That's what my Alexa said. Yeah. So that's it. And it happens every so often, like I'll go on a kick and I'll be loading stuff up and not have a problem. And then out of the blue, and it's usually a PDF file, it just won't work. So then I either, convert it manually. I have a lot of Adobe Acrobat tools, so sometimes I can just do it myself. Or sometimes I'm feeling lazy, I'll just do the convert as the subject line in the email and let Amazon take care of it. But I've been playing more and more with Calibre just because, hey, new toy. And it's impressive. It doesn't take long to convert things, and anything I've run through Calibre has always loaded. So you might want to give that a try. Like I said, the link is in the description. None of these are sponsored. None of these are affiliates. This is just me sharing information and trying to make it easier for you than it was for me to go find them because, well, Calibre was easy to find, but trying to find stuff on the Amazon site sometimes is a little painful. Okay? All right, everybody. So I hope that now you will be able to find stuff to fill up your Kindle with, whether it's, work, study, or entertainment. It's a good thing to have, and it's a lot easier on your back than it is if you're trying to do these kinds of things with actual physical books. Don't get me wrong, I love physical books. I still buy them too. Let me just show you real quick, in case anybody's curious. I should probably just show you how these things look. Okay, just give me a second while I kind of get this configured here, because I'm going to hold it. I'm going to try really hard to not make people sick, but okay, I think that's as good as it's going to get. Okay, so this is my Kindle. So I wanted to show you, so, these two here are just books I bought from the Amazon store. And then these 4 are ones that I loaded to test all these different things. So, PDF, you see the little symbol up in the corner there. And then you see this one here. So this is an EPUB that I loaded. And what I wanted to show you, so this book and this book are the same thing. This is how it looks when I send up the PDF version, and this is when I send the EPUB. So the EPUB has got the information to help it lay it out better. Now, it doesn't have a cover or anything like that, but you see how, like, the title is, initial, cap and all that. Whereas here, it's really just the file name, right? It's all lowercase, and it's got dashes, doesn't have the extension, but that's what it is. So just so if you've never looked at this kind of thing before, I wanted to show you something so you can compare. All of them work, right? So if I click on this, it'll open, right? And here it does have the, cover and all that kind of good stuff. And then if I go back and I click on the same thing as a PDF, it's all here exactly the same way. And I think if I go all the way back, I think the cover's on this. Yep. So just so if you've never seen it, that'll make it a little easier for you to identify it when it happens. Like, you're seeing all the garbage on my... Hang on. I don't know why that came in that way. There we go. Yes, my desk is very messy right now. But just I wanted to let you know so that you could see it. Because your Chromebook is dead right now. Oh, bummer. Yeah, I finally went ahead and replaced. I had one for 4 years. It did its job. It paid its dues. But I finally did go ahead and treat myself to the new Samsung, and I'm loving it. It's so peppy. But yeah. Oh, you just mean you're going to charge it at night. Yeah. Okay. So you just mean the battery's dead. Yeah. But yeah, that's, the Chromebooks, that's a whole other discussion. But I'm so impressed with how much I can get done with a Chromebook, and they just keep improving it. So yeah, and I'm finding that's really a nice way also for, like, if I'm going to be out and about and I need a little bit more functionality, than I can get from my Kindle itself, the Chromebook is a good way to go. And it's lightweight and it holds a charge, and I can throw it in my bag, so that's all good. So and you can read your books on there, and it gives you a nice size screen to read on too. So wins all around. All right, so everybody, whether you're watching this, live, thank you so much for coming and hanging out. I love chatting with you live. If you're watching this on the replay, go ahead, put your comments, your questions, your ideas for other shows, your favorite Kindle book in the description, because that way we can keep having this conversation. And I will see you again next week. Till then, I hope everybody has a great week and weekend, and we will talk again soon. Okay? Thanks so much. Bye. Where's my button? There's my button.